Hello and welcome to the Elon Musk Signal channel. Exploring the moon has always been a dream for those fascinated by space exploration. Since the United States set foot on the moon in 1969, an increasing number of countries have joined the race to conquer this natural satellite. The reason is that whichever nation achieves the next major step on the moon will gain a significant advantage. Among the countries participating in this race, China has emerged with the ambition to build a base on the moon, surpassing all rivals, including the United States, to conquer and settle there. So how will China's plan be implemented? Can China surpass the United States and NASA with these ambitions? Let's find out in this video. It can be said that a base on the moon will play an extremely important role in the competition between the United States and China. In 1969, with the Apollo 11 mission, the United States made history with Neil Armstrong becoming the first person to set foot on the surface of the moon. The United States entered history as the first nation to bring humans to the moon, as demonstrated by Neil Armstrong's famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And continuing, the next steps on the moon will be equally significant. Why? The next flights to the moon will usher in a phase of construction, resource exploitation, and settlement. Clearly, whichever nation lands on the moon and builds the first base will gain a considerable advantage for exploiting and settling on this natural satellite. For both China and the United States, a base on the moon is not only a precursor for research and settlement activities but also plays an important role as an intermediate station for journeys to more distant planets. China's journey to conquer the moon has indeed witnessed remarkable acceleration. Looking back at the history of space aviation, China initially had a slow start in the space race. When the United States sent astronauts to the moon in 1969, it wasn't until a year later that China successfully launched its first satellite into orbit. However, since focusing on plans for the moon, we have witnessed increasingly breakthrough achievements from them. In 2007, China initiated its lunar exploration program. This project was divided into 4 phases. The first 3 phases took place from 2007 to 2020 through the Chang'e missions, with objectives such as achieving lunar orbit, landing and roving on the surface, collecting samples from the near side of the moon, and returning them. These achievements laid a solid foundation for China's ambition to build a base on the moon. Thanks to major achievements in Phase 3 of the lunar exploration program, China has asserted its position in the thrilling space race. In 2013, they made a mark by becoming the 3rd country to successfully land a rover on the moon. Following that success, in 2019, China's rover touched down on the far side of the moon, where no spacecraft from Earth had ever set foot before. In 2020, China further asserted its position by becoming the 3rd country to collect lunar samples and return them to Earth. These major achievements lay a solid foundation for China's next steps in Phase 4 of the lunar exploration program. This phase will witness the deployment of the next Chang'e and Lunar Palace missions, focusing on lunar exploration and preparing for the landing of a spacecraft approved around 2030. One of the most important goals of Phase 4 is to develop a robot research station called the International Lunar Research Station, ILRS, by 2035, near the lunar South Pole. Chinese space officials have revealed many details about this plan, in which the mission will use 2 Long March 10 rockets, including a lander and a rudimentary spacecraft. Both will be placed in lunar orbit, then rendezvous and connect with each other. Here, space travelers will move from the rudimentary spacecraft to the lander to land on the surface of the moon. After landing, space travelers will conduct scientific research such as collecting lunar samples, carrying out exploration missions, and conducting other experiments to serve research and construction of the lunar base. The ILRS project was established in 2021, initially a collaboration between China and Russia, but later attracted many other participating countries. Currently, the project is still in the reconnaissance and survey phase. With Chuangqin and Soyuz rockets being deployed in Chang'e and Luna missions, however, China may still play a leading role at least in the early stages of the project, as Russia is focusing on its conflict with Ukraine. Construction is scheduled to begin in 2026 and will take about 10 years to complete. Recently, China has also taken significant steps related to the construction of a lunar base. Specifically, at the end of May, China revealed plans to send astronauts to the moon by 2030 and add a 4th module to their Tiangong space station. Regarding the Long March 10 rocket, China has successfully tested the main engine, further bolstering their upcoming plans. With these plans, China once again reaffirms its ambition to conquer the moon and become a leading power in space exploration. China's recent actions demonstrate ambitious efforts to accelerate the construction of a lunar base. Like a message to the United States that China will be the next nation to leave footprints on the lunar surface. To cope with China's rapid progress, the United States has not remained idle but has taken practical actions as well. Following former President Trump's 2019 speech about returning Americans to the moon by 2024, the country, along with NASA, has expedited the Artemis program. This program collaborates with many other countries and private aerospace companies with the goal of sending humans to the moon and establishing a base there. A significant difference in the US plan compared to China's is the close cooperation with private aerospace companies. This is seen as a key factor in accelerating the implementation of US ambitions to compete with China in the race to conquer the moon. NASA has collaborated with many private companies, utilizing the rockets and spacecraft they have developed. These vehicles will operate in parallel with NASA's SLS rocket and Orion spacecraft, which are responsible for landing astronauts on the lunar surface. Among the vehicles NASA has selected, Starship HLS is the most anticipated and likely to become the trump card to help NASA surpass China. The main reason comes from Starship's superior capabilities compared to NASA's massive SLS rocket and the Saturn V rocket that once brought humans to the moon in the past. Starship HLS is an improved version of Starship, adjusted to fit NASA's plans but fundamentally inherits the impressive thrust and cargo capacity of the original version. Comparing Starship to China's Long March rocket, we can easily see Starship's superiority in many aspects, including propulsion systems, fuel capacity, cargo transportation, and crew capabilities. Moreover, launching Starship is supported by SpaceX's most advanced launch system, continuously updated and improved. The space race has never been hotter. While the US and NASA have financial and technological resources at their disposal, the support of many giant private aerospace companies is also a significant advantage, helping the US maintain its leading position. However, China is emerging as a formidable force. Despite starting later than the US, they are making lightning-fast strides, demonstrating immense ambition. With strong investment from the Beijing government and enthusiastic support, China could well close the gap with the US in the near future. The race back to the moon is becoming more dramatic than ever. Any delay could leave one side lagging behind. So which flag will be raised on the lunar surface next? Leave your predictions in the comments. Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with interesting information. Goodbye and see you in the next video.